Obviously, even though the protagonist realizes what's happening, he's still kind of dazed while 172 pulls him. Next to them, a bunch of prisoners keep going by, pulling the gate in a tug of war. Kim Jin-ho wanted to believe this was a dream, but at the same time, it felt way too real. He starts running beside the girl, trying to understand how he ended up inside the game he used to play until he decides to calm down and escape this place first, and then worry about how to solve this mystery. But suddenly, he stops and tells 172 to pay attention. This was weird. This was supposed to be the most secure prison of all, and everything was way too messed up. 172 says, it's because Director Clark isn't there. Looks like he stepped out to deal with something, and this is everyone's chance to escape. Kim Jin-ho, however, suddenly grabs her by the collar and runs in the opposite direction. She tells him to let go, saying he's a maniac, but he was sure. This prison was way too secure for it to fall into chaos like this. And something told him that whoever went through that door wasn't going to live much longer. 172 is trying to resist, telling him to let go of her. And at that moment, the others manage to open the door and start celebrating, saying they're finally free. They're all going out while our boy takes her further inside the prison. But obviously, the smiles of the escapees disappeared really fast. Bro out of nowhere, arms start flying, legs everywhere, and Director Clark is right in front of them all. The guy turns and says, "This place really is full of pathetic worms." He gives the order for them to be killed, and the troops storm in. 172 asks why he's there, while our boy says right away that this was clearly a trap. Now the criminals are all rushing back into the prison desperate bro. The walls were painted in blood. Sometime later, Clark tells them to gather the survivors. The line of criminals forms. Bro, only our protagonist and his friend are different there. Copy and paste was used hard. She's right next to him, almost throwing up. Actually, wow. She threw up in her hand. All of it. It would have been better to just vomit on the floor. And worst of all, for vomiting, she got punched for moving. Jin-ho is shocked that they're that violent, even with kids. No wonder riots happen there all the time. If something like that happens again, he's going to have to get involved in a fight. And then Clark shows up in front of him, like 78 tall, saying the kid is either really lucky or way too much of a coward to have tried escaping. But to him, that's typical. Every mage is like that. Nothing but a coward. Calling people like them rivals is disgusting. He gets in our protagonist's face and says that Aaron is going to regret surviving today. The guy leaves and the protagonist stares at his reflection, wondering if he really was just called Aaron. A week later, a beautiful blue sky and our boy is working. They had to spend the whole day stacking rocks, but not because there was a big reason, just so they wouldn't be idle and had something to do. Looking at his own hand, all busted up, our boy, who I don't even know what to call anymore, Kim Jin-ho 218, we'll figure it out later. But this same guy is complaining that just lifting a rock already makes him run out of breath. And this body is way too weak. Not to mention, they said he's a mage. But he tried to use magic and nothing happened. It seemed like a complete failure. But to him, it made no sense. Aaron should know how to use magic. That's because Aaron is the name of the most powerful mage family in that region. That's when it hits him. He was from that family probably, but was discarded for having no magical talent. Considering how cruel and sadistic that family is, that would make perfect sense. Then the guard tells him to take that rock over to the other side. The protagonist just obeys and carries the rock. He's looking forward to something specific. On the system window, it says that due to excessive data, synchronization is taking a while. The guy was so overpowered in real life. Yes, this guy is struggling to download his files. Yesterday and the next day, a meal time meal is a strong word. At the time of rock with water and bread, which also looks more like a rock. The protagonist complains he's been training hard, but with food like this, he won't build any muscle. Then 172 shows up and asks if he's not going to eat the bread again. He says no and tells her to take it. Now I'm confused. Jin-ho says this friend is peculiar. What do you mean it's a guy? No way. No. I think something's off. Probably. Kim Jin-ho is wondering why this person. And I'll just say person for now until I know if it's a guy or girl is locked up in here, being so young, and 172 tells him to be careful lately. It seems like because of our guy, everyone's workload increased and nobody's happy about it. Now it made sense to Jin-ho why so many people were staring at him in that place. And 172 tells him to be careful, especially with 589, the leader of the prisoners, who also has a notorious reputation in the arena. Jinho then says it's better not to talk to him, since she might end up at risk too. But 172 says she already knows everyone, so she can just ignore it. And our protagonist stands up, saying they're going to find out right now. A bunch of prisoners start approaching, and he says the situation she mentioned is about to happen. At that moment, 172 is startled when she sees the guy's number. All right, bro. In theory, he's the leader of the prisoners, right? But honestly, I think he's the leader of the bald gang man. So far, only our protagonist and that friend have hair. No way. That's a coincidence. And the leader says he heard the reason their workload increased was because of that kid. 218 just wants to know what he has to do with that. Well, I mean, it is your fault, right? You bastard. He's about to make up an excuse, but there's already a hand the size of his head in front of him, bro. It opened a crater in the ground, and 172 yells out for our boy, but someone grabbed the leader by the neck. What's that, bro? You think Kim Jinho is going to play around? He already lands a knee right in the guy's chin. His friend and the bald guys are all freaking out, calling out to the boss. And the protagonist expression change, right man? He's not the same as before, and now his knee did absolutely nothing. 589 asks, what was that? And now our boy gets grabbed by the collar and is about to get airplane spun, man. The guy was thrown against the wall like protagonist in a couple's fight. Bro, his friend's right there scared, calling out to 218. But the boss says if he didn't die just now, he can rest assured he's marked for death. Wither boss, you better watch out because the synchronization just hit 100%. Bro, look at the villain's little grin. Finally, someone installed fiber optic in this cursed system that never loads. And the beatdown is about to begin. He's already getting back up, surrounded by that aura or with his fist full of blue energy. The kid's all driving balls now with those auras, doing that little hand flex and foot warm-up. Whoa, man. And he's already in MMA stance, telling the guy to step into the ring. The boss laughs, saying,